Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going through games from my top 100 games number 20 through 11. So we're at the really good games, and I hope to be done with this tomorrow. This top 10 is dedicated to Rich, who I don't mention enough on these lists, and it's definitely not dedicated to Jimmy, who is giving me crap for not finishing within February, even though I said I would try to, and it's the shortest month. Jimmy. Without further ado, and what one more further ado. The As a reminder, I did my top 100 for the first time in 2020, then again in 2022. Last year, I did an update of my top 10. So this is going to be the first ones. In here, there's three different games that fell out of my top 10 from my update in 2023. So I'll mention those when I get to them. Now, number 20 was 14 the last time I did this list. It was 9 the time before that. This is a deck builder. This is the Taverns of Tiefenthal. Taverns of Tiefenthal is by Wolfgang Warsch, who also did Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is his more popular game. I had it, I think, number 98. This one I like a lot more. In this one, you have a bar, and you are basically trying to have the most profitable bar, and attract rich patrons, and especially the nobles, and get rid of the poor bar regulars who start out the game patronizing your bar. Oh, side note, Rich says this is not okay, that this orientation is not matching the orientation on the back. And Rich, I think you're wrong about that. But let me know in the comments if I'm wrong and if people should be upset at me or if it's just Rich. Yeah, love Taverns of Tiefenthal. There's interesting things because the cards that you get in your turn go on top of your deck, so you get to use them next turn. There's actually another game in the top 10 here that I'm going to mention that also has that coming up in a minute. Anyway, big fan, Taverns of Tiefenthal, number 20. Number 19 is my third favorite two-player only game. And this one, I don't have the deluxe edition, but this is Radlands. Big shout out to Brendan for teaching me this game when I was out in Montana last, about a year and a half ago. In Radlands, it's this kind of cyberpunk dystopian future. No, I guess cyberpunk's something different. This is like more like Mad Max. And so you have all these like apocalypse survivors who are fighting against each other. So here we've got the sniper. Oh, I wonder if that'll show up. Or one of my favorites, the muse, because she gives you more water. This game is so clever. It hasn't had an expansion. It's probably not going to get one because honestly, it's kind of perfect as is. You have a shared deck in this. So both players are drawing from the same deck, and then using the cards they get there to just take out the opponent's camps. It's a lane battler, so there's three different lanes that you have with a camp at the end of each of them. First person to have all three of their camps destroyed loses. Yeah, really, really excellent game where the tactics absolutely matter. And if you are better at this game than the other person, you are going to win 99% of the time. There's not a lot of luck. I mean, even though you're drawing a bunch of cards, I guess there is luck, but it's so much strategy within that shared deck, and you have to be able to read your board presence, manage your tempo. It's designed by a Magic the Gathering player, and that if you used to play Magic, play this instead. It's much better. That's number 19, Radlands. Oh, and that was new to the list. Number 18 was 31 last time, and this is another deck builder. This is, in fact, the other one where the cards go on top of your deck when you buy them. This is Living Forest. Shout out to Melissa who taught me this game. It's 18 this year. It was 31 last time. I think I said that. In this game, you have these very awesome animal cards that are all sorts of like weird, and the art is like these weird glowy things, which is fun. And I clearly need to take care of the game better because the trees here are all messed up. I played this game a lot on Board Game Arena. It's really good there. The idea is it's a deck building game, but there's three different ways to win. You can either be the first one to, in the base game, I think I've been playing a lot of the expansion online. In the base game, I think it's 12. So the first one to 12 different trees, 12 different fire tokens, or 12 different of these like weird flower things. So what often happens in this game is that multiple people will win on the same round, and then the tiebreaker is the other two. So if you have 50, if you get up to like 15 flowers, then you got to count your other two things. So it's very much a like you got to win one of the things, but you need to balance all of them so you have enough for the tiebreakers. Yeah. It also has this really fun push your luck mechanism, also found in Mystic Vale, which is I think as far as I know, the first time that was shown, where if you get three of these bad symbols when you're flipping your cards up in this line, then you bust and you only get one action instead of two. But there are cards that can mitigate that, and then sometimes you don't mind if you bust that much, or sometimes you're like, ugh, I really can't bust, but I got to draw some more. Yeah, really cool. Love it. That's Living Forest. Number 17 is the first one to fall out of the top 10 from last year, my top 10 update. This was 4 first time I did the list, and 7 the last time, or 7 in 2022, and 7 again last year. It's 17 now. This is Keyforge. So this is my second favorite two-player game, at least as of now. Two-player only. Keyforge. Keyforge is such a weird game to talk about. It is, you have a deck, but there's no deck building. You just buy a deck, and then where's a good name here? Oh, here we go. So here we have the Astute Toy Maker. This is the only copy of this deck in existence. Every single deck is 100% is unique, meaning that no other deck has this exact configuration of cards. Also unique name, unique design here on the back. Nobody cares about that. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good. The reason it dropped a bit for me is because the game kind of died and then was bought by the original the guy who produced it originally, but was no longer with Fantasy Flight, who had been producing it. His new company, Ghost Galaxy, bought it, and then they did a Kickstarter to save Keyforge. I backed a Kickstarter. That set's called Winds of Exchange. Honestly, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. It messed with the main mechanic, token creatures, messed with the balance of Keyforge, which is you got 12 cards from each house, and that's all. They're all equally balanced. When you have token creatures, you kind of have more than that. So I didn't like that. However, new set just came out, Grim Reminders. I actually went to a pre-release last weekend because Nikki was going to one, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And man, it's a good set, so this might go up higher for me. We will see. Number 17, Keyforge. Number 16 was 8 the first time I did this list. 9 the last time. It was not on my top 10 update. And this is Tribune. Tribune is a hand management game where you are collecting these various different suits of like the patricians and the legions and the plebes and stuff like that, the plebeians. And then you're trying to basically collect those sets of cards, turn them in to gain control of these factions, and kind of finish off this little like shopping list of you must achieve so many of these, like 4 of these 6 objectives in that order to win the game. It's really cool. It's really neat. It's hard to teach the strategy. A lot of times people don't really get it the first time that they're playing it, but I really love it. This is a game that Amy does not like, so I don't play it as much. And it's just hard to know like what the actual group to get it to the table is. Wish I played it more. Hard to get to the table. That's Tribune. Number 15 was my favorite deck builder for a while. No longer the case. It fell out of the top 10. It was 7 the first time I did this, then 10. Last year in the top 10 update, it was number 9. And this is Dominion, the first deck builder. So in Dominion, you've got these card. I'm not gonna look so heavy here. Let me show you what I got in here. Much like Marvel Legendary, I've created my own ugly poor man's insert here, and I got a bunch of different sets within the same thing because I was tired of having several boxes of it. Got room for one smaller one too. In Dominion, you are building your own deck by buying cards from the Kingdom cards, which is this row in the middle. Yeah, it's really clean. It's really cool. The theme is basically non-existent. The art isn't great, but man, it's good. It's fallen out of the top 10. I still really love it. There's other deck builders I like better. Actually, let me see how many deck builders I like better. Two, but this is definitely the highest pure deck builder on my list, meaning that deck building is really the only thing going on in this game. Yeah, there's a great new app for it, which is very cool. Yeah, there's just not enough room because there's too many great games. That's why Dominion is now 15. Number 14 is new to the list. I played this game for the first time in December, and I've played it probably 30 times since then, which is probably, it's too many times. I'm not sick of it, but I'm getting a little sick of it. This is Forest Shuffle. Shout out to Marianne, who believes that this is the only game in existence, and that if you want to play a game, it means you want to play Forest Shuffle. I one time asked them to say, like, what game do you want to play? And don't use the words Forest or Shuffle. And they said, Jungle, mix them up. Forest Shuffle is great, though. It's so good. So, yeah, new to the list, fairly new game. In this game, you've got these animal cards and these tree cards, and you are playing the animals on the trees. So a tree will look like that, but then an animal, on this one, you can either play the fox or the violet carpenter bee. And if you're going to play the fox, you layer it under the tree like this. So you wind up with cards above and below and either side of your tree. And it is just a tableau builder where you are just playing all these cards to give you points. So much fun. Plays well with 2 through 4. Actually, 2 through 5. Yeah, it's a 2 to 5 player game. And yeah, just been playing this a ton. Maybe too much. There's an expansion coming out. We're definitely going to get that and play it more. Forest Shuffle will probably be my most played game of 2024, though it's still early. Number 13 is my favorite two-player only game. It was 13 the last time I did this list, 6 the first time I did the list, and this is Summoner Wars. I do not have Summoner Wars 2nd edition. Don't feel the need to get it because this one's great and I have just about everything for it. I don't have the Alliance set. Maybe I'll get that someday. But yeah, in Summoner Wars, you have a deck of a faction. So like here, you have the Shadow Elves or the Mountain Vargath, which is the goat people. And then you have a board with just this grid, and you put 1 unit per grid. You move your units around, you attack your opponent's units. First person to kill off the opponent's summoner, which is their big starting guy, wins the game. Each of the factions plays very differently, which I love that. My 2 favorite factions, the Deep Dwarves are just like this turtling faction where they just like stay back, play very few cards, and wear down the other person very slowly. And then the Cave Goblins, which just plays all their cards and attacks for a ton of damage, and if their attack doesn't win them the game, then they'll lose. Wildly different. There are, I don't even know how many factions. This set came with 6, and then there were 4 original ones, and then maybe 4 other ones that came out. No, 6 other ones that came out, something like that. And then the Alliances ones I don't even have. This is a great 2-player game that I really want to play with Sarah, because she and I play 2-player games a decent amount. Yeah, haven't played it enough lately, but man, it's so good. It's staying right where it was last time, 13. That is Summoner Wars. Number 12 was 15 the last time I did this list, 5 the time before that, and this is Innovation. Back in the day, I played this game with Herb a ton. Innovation is an ugly game where you just go through the tech tree and say civilization or something like that. So here we have the prehistory ones, and you might start with the tech like tools or writing. And you have these cards. The Wheel, that's a good one. And then eventually, you build up. You get things like medicine. That's good. Chemistry. Every single one of these cards is different, and a lot of them are absolutely insane. It's a small card game in which you could win early on in the game by just like rushing a bunch of points and getting a bunch of achievements as first person to however many achievements, 4 or 5 or 6, depending on how many people are playing. Or you could have a long slog of a game and then it ends with like getting to the number 10 cards, like the internet and stuff like that. You can also end the game. Let me see here. Where is it? There, you can end the game via an AI uprising. You can end the game via, oh gosh, there's so many weird things. You can nuke the board. In this little card game, you can nuke the world, which I don't recommend, but man, it's weird. It's fun. It's just, which is terrible. But like, this is, you see these number of cards? This is perhaps the craziest game I own, and it's in this tiny little box. If you have not played this and you want me to teach you, I'd be happy to. A 4-player game is absolutely insane. A 2-player game is insane in a different way. 3-player game is also good. It's really hard to explain this game. I did recently, with Rich and Nikki, play, and who else was there? Mark? Yeah, Mark. Rich, Nikki, and Mark. We played Glory to Rome, which is by the same designer here, Carl Chudik. I really like Glory to Rome. It's completely out of print and really hard to find and won't come back in print. I think this is better. This is absolutely insane. If you haven't played this and you are into board games, you need to play this one. This is like mandatory educational game of like how insane a deck of cards can be. That's number 12, Innovation. Number 11 was 3 the first time I did this list, 5 the last time, 10 when I did the update, and it's finally fallen out of the top 10. I still like the game, Mark. Don't give me crap. I still like it. This is Scythe. Scythe is not my favorite Jamey Stegmaier game. This is a game that kind of plays. I've seen everything it has to offer. Everything it has to offer is so good, but I don't necessarily love to play it as much anymore because I've played it so much. It is really amazing. You got this giant board. You have these mechs. Really, the game is about creating the combos on your own player board here and finding out what you can do there. The world and the art is very cool. It's got these mechs in these alternate 1920s like Eastern Europe kind of era. Yeah, it's a game that looks like a giant war game. In reality, it's like that's kind of the trappings, and the real game is just kind of finding out how you can build your own little engine and win the game. Get to the first one to put down 6 stars, which is not necessarily the person who wins, but often it is. There is a campaign expansion that I really love called The Rise of Fenris, which I played a few times. It's completely resettable, not Legacy, which is great. That's Scythe. Plays 1 to 5. You can technically play up to 7 if you have the expansion, but oof, that would take a while. I think it's at its best with 3 or 4. Yeah, number 11, Scythe. All right, one more of these to go. Hopefully I'll get to that the next tomorrow. Thanks for bearing with me. Stay tuned. When I do the next video, I'm going to talk about a project I want to do using the YouTube channel. And yeah, so thanks for joining with me, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a good one. Bye.